Jamal Niaz here with Frank Smith. An absolutely stacked card in Manchester, open workouts, fight week getting underway. This is a massive occasion for Conor Benn, another big acid test. I mean, after the Chris Algieri performance, he's absolutely flying from that 2021, isn't he? How excited are you for this one?
Yeah, look, he had a great performance, as you say, against Chris Algieri. Conor Benn's still young, he's still learning, he's still developing, he's 25 years of age. And I think, you know, the Van Heerdan fight may have got some stick, but I think it's a good fight for him. I think it's about him developing his career. You know, his first southpaw he's faced, and you know he needs to learn these things, and he needs to build on his career. And you know, I think he's going to have another great performance like he showed against Chris Algieri. I think that's what we're going to see on Saturday night. I think we're going to see a big win for him.
I mean, that little bit of backlash from fans, that's actually a testament to how far Conor's come. Now, speaking to Campbell, and he's very much in the same position as what Conor was in all those years ago, getting those snipey little criticisms of maybe not living up to those massive expectations early on. But, you know, Conor came through that. Oh, wait 1 second. Yeah. Conor came through that and is absolutely excelling on a world level. Just seeing that, is it funny the way our boxing fans work? It's like you can't live up to the expectations, but then when you do, you're getting easy fights. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
I think it's very hard to win. As with anything in life, you can never keep everyone happy. Conor Benn, if you said years ago, Conor Benn's going to go and fight Chris Algieri, Chris Van Heerdan, and he's going to go and do what he did to Chris Algieri, people go, oh, you're absolutely joking. But this is all part of the development and the growth of Conor Benn, and he's improving day by day. And you know, Tony Sims has done a tremendous job with him. So look, you're never going to, like I say, you're never going to win. You're always going to have people saying this isn't good enough, that's not good enough. But as long as he goes in there and does what he has to do every time, you know we have to make a big fight for Conor Benn next. We know that, and we're working to do that. But our focus is growing his career at the right pace, and we believe this is the right move for him. And he would fight anyone tomorrow. He would have fought anyone a year ago, but that wouldn't have been right for the development and growth of Conor Benn. And this, I believe, this is the right way to do it. And you know, he's got a huge career ahead of him and some massive nights.
There's talk of Brook or Khan next. You've got so many guys from America as well. You've got Thurman, even seen mentioned Josh Taylor as well, maybe moving up at some point. There's so many big high-level matchups, as you said. Just when you hear those guys like Khan and Brook mentioned, specifically Khan, do you think Khan needs to just walk away from the sport with the money that he's earned now? Because you have to be thinking, is that a safe thing to do after that last performance? What are your opinions on that?
I think, look, I've said about Amir Khan, you know, it's not like he's never been knocked out before. It's not like he's never been stopped. He's had those moments, like whether it was against Crawford, whether it was against Canelo. He's fought the best. And one thing about him, he's always fought the best. So there's no harm in losing against the best. You know, Kell Brook's a great fighter. He's always been a great fighter. That fight probably happened later than it should have done. But I still think the Amir Khan fight is a good fight for Conor Benn. You know, Conor Benn is still growing. Amir Khan has got, look at the experience he's got and what Conor Benn could learn from a fight with him. I think Conor Benn beats Amir Khan, but that's the joy of this sport, is no one knows what's going to happen. But I think Amir Khan will continue in the sport. You know, there's talk whether he wasn't 100% fit in that fight. I don't know, it's not my place to say, but you know, providing he's fit and healthy, I can't see why people should say he shouldn't fight.
And obviously there will be some needle with that one. Amir, he loves to talk, doesn't he? And we've not seen a great deal of that from Conor, have we? We've not seen him go up against someone who kind of loves to run the mouth like Amir would. That would bring in a whole new level of fans as well. And you look at Conor from what Anthony Joshua's done as a stadium level fighter, you probably look at him as the next guy that could be selling out stadiums as well. You've got to be looking at him as your hottest prospect on the MATCHROOM roster, surely. Yeah,
look, I think Conor's got some huge nights ahead of him. You know, he's a true talent and he's a star as well. He speaks well, he looks the part. You know, even when you say there, he hasn't had many people that he's gone up to against verbally, but he's always played that part on his own and built what he's got now ultimately. So look, Conor's a big part of our business, and you know, we're pushing very hard for the big nights with him. I think we've done a great job with him. He's done everything he needed to do, and yeah, look, we're very excited about what the future holds, because this guy's got, you know, even if you said 5-6 years and he retires at 31, 32, not saying he'll do that, but that's some great nights ahead of him.
Obviously you've been a part of some of the biggest nights in recent British boxing history. You're non-stop on the road, non-stop working like Eddie. Are there times when you soak it up as a fan, and because you were a fan like all of us before this job came to you, and we all know how that job came. It's a very famous story. Do you have them opportunities to reflect and soak it in and see how far you've come personally?
Yeah, look, I think the point where you say we've made it or look at what we've done is the point where you shouldn't be doing it anymore. I love what I do because we continuously get to deliver huge events, bigger events. You're like, what we've done in the UK, then we went to the US and delivered the biggest stadium fight ever seen in boxing. We're just some British guys who came in a couple of years ago, and look what we've already done. These people have been around for 10, 20, 30 years out there, so we're never going to stop. We are literally, like Eddie's book, Relentless, on sale at WH Smith's, interesting read. We will never stop, and that's what makes us, in my opinion, better than anyone else, because it doesn't matter whether we got competition, whether we haven't got competition. We want to keep growing, keep building the sport, keep building the fighters, and we're not happy with where we are. This is just like 30-40% of the way. There's still so much more to come. So don't get me wrong, I look at it and I go, I'm so lucky to do what I do. I work very hard. Like I don't have much time to myself, but I'd never complain about that. But I still think there's so much more to deliver.
Obviously, coming up next week, biggest British heavyweight title fight in recent memory, Matchroom's own Dillon White. It's been such a peculiar build-up to this one. Dillon's wanted to separate himself entirely from any promotion. You see the odd social media posts, but just from Queensberry's side of things, are you sat there thinking, how are the fans not talking about this more than what they should be? We've not had it pushed down our throats necessarily how much an Anthony Joshua fight would be necessarily. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, but look, I think we're at the level we are within the sport on a global scale. Queensberry, look, they're doing the biggest, as you say, British fight at Wembley Stadium, sold 94,000 tickets, amazing. But they don't do it every week. Like, we're doing this every week around the world. They're doing like big shows once every 2 or 3 years. And that's no dig, but like, that's the reason why we're like a machine. We got 35 people working day and night to deliver our events, whether that's UK, Italy, Spain, Germany, Mexico, Uzbekistan. That's what we do. So it's always going to be bigger. But this fight's massive, and it deserves great attention, and I'm sure it will have great attention. Would it have been bigger if we were involved? In my opinion, yes, 100%. But because I believe we're the best at what we do. But still, it's going to, like I say, sold 94,000 tickets. Congratulations to them. They were broken a record there. So, amazing. And it's, I believe Dillon White's going to go in there and do a job.
Do you think that is the reason why they've not necessarily pushed it as much as they had, because the tickets have already been sold? It's 94,000. But you still want to generate that fan interest and people to make plans to go and watch it out and about or order it on pay-per-view, because that's where a lot of the money's made as well. Is it surprising to you, or did you see this happening?
Like I say, our business is a machine of constant building, and it's not just what suits Matchroom. It's like, as a group, how we grow the event and the sport as a whole. It's not just what's good for Matchroom, whether it's our YouTube, our social media pages. So look, I'm not really surprised. Don't get me wrong, they sold all the tickets. They've done a job there. So now their focus is going to turn to pay-per-view sales. I think, as you say, Dillon White didn't talk too much about it. There was a lot of things going on in the background. I wasn't involved in it. I'm not saying I was, but I'm sure there was a lot of discussions going on there. Maybe the breaking point was seeing Frank Warren sing, and Dillon thought he had to do something because he couldn't put up with another song from Warren in his office.
I mean, Dillon's been shrouded in mystery since this fight has been announced. We want to see those guys have a bit of verbal, sell the fight next week. Might seem like a silly question, but is he actually going to be at the press conference next week? Do you anticipate them two to have some verbal, or do you think it might be Tyson there on his own? Even more mind games from Dillon. We just don't know. I
don't know. We're not promoting the show. It'd be quite funny if he didn't turn up. As long as he turns up to the fight, that's the key thing, isn't it? In the weigh-in and the fight. But look, I'm sure they're going through all that now, all the plans for that. Ultimately, Dillon's going to turn up in front of 94,000 people, and that's what he has to do. And that's going to be his focus. And look, he's dedicated himself for a long time. He's waited for the shot for a long time. So every decision has been made around making sure it's the right move for Dillon White. and that's what he's done.
Obviously, it's not your show, but it's your fighter. Are you going to be present on the night?
No, I won't be there. I won't be there. Dillion's got a really strong team around him of people that we've worked with for a long time. I think if I went, maybe they'd stick me in the gods somewhere. So I'd just be on my own. So with a load of Fury fans.
And just in terms of where that win would rank amongst Matchroom boxers' most famous victories, obviously not being there it's not going to help things for you because you'd have a personal attachment to it. But just in terms of Dillon White defeating Tyson Fury, where would that rank amongst Matchroom's greatest achievements?
It would be a huge win. Look, Dillon has been spoken about. We've worked with Dillon for the last 6, 7, 8 years, like a long time now. We've got a great relationship with him. As people know, we're not tied to him, but we've got a great relationship with him, and we look at him as one of our fighters, and that would be a massive win. And I spoke to him, I texted him on his birthday the other day. I want him there to go in there and do the job, and I believe he can. I believe he can. We've seen Tyson Fury can be vulnerable in fights before. Don't get me wrong, he's looked great in his last few fights, and he's an unbelievable fighter. He's #1 heavyweight. I'm not going to argue that. But all these heavyweights, the best can beat the best on their night. And I just think we're going to see a great Dillon White. Obviously,
Matchroom have a potentially huge stadium fight on the cards. If everything's okay with Usyk and he can come back into camp and things like that, AJ Usyk too. Are you anywhere in that in terms of developments on that fight? Do you think it could take place in this country? There's a lot of talks of various different countries where that fight could take place.
Yeah, look, I spoke to Alex Krasuk yesterday actually, as well as did Eddie. That's the fight we're doing. We're going with that next, a rematch. Everything's set for that. Plans are in. We're working through the plans now. Just working through the sites. UK's an option. There is Saudi discussions as well. So as soon as we got news, then we'll update people. But we're working. We know the anticipation for a fight of that scale and that rematch, and people want to know where it is and when it is. And I'm sure you'll see news soon.
Obviously, it goes without saying, if everything goes your way this year, you're in the position where Dillon White and AJ are the top of the sport. I mean, that fight sells itself, doesn't it? The direction that you guys would obviously love to go in.
Massive. Look, if we can make the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, that's what we want to do. So, and look, I know we said that for a long time, and we have tried. We have tried and tried and tried and tried. AJ always wanted to do that, and it didn't work out for whatever reasons. Let's not go over old ground, but AJ's got to go in there and do a job against Alexander Usyk. He's done it once before against Andy Ruiz, and he can do it again. But all eyes are set on that, and then beyond that, hopefully we can do the undisputed.
Perfect. I really appreciate your time. You give me a lot of time, so I really appreciate it. And thanks so much, man. Thank you.